Hello, this is Skylit Lake reading Super Science by thatchickendude. Chapter 45, Attack of the Yakuza. Hidden within the many cities of Japan was a storage and package facility that was used as a crafty cover-up for the Yakuza's main base. Within its confines is the office of its current leader, Overhaul, who is waiting impatiently for any news on his recently vanished secret weapon. At some point, his second-in-command, a man with grey, arrow-shaped hair known as Chronostasis, enters the room and stands before his leader while telling him, "Sir, we've located where Eri is. She's been brought to that new research facility that opened recently, but the trucker died after a few hours. For all we know, they could have taken her elsewhere." "They wouldn't," Overhaul says with certainty. His right-hand man looked at him in confusion as he continued, "They know about us and that we would find them. They're trapped and know it. What do you suggest that we do then?" Chronostasis asks. "Well, try diplomacy, then invade," Overhaul tells him after thinking it over. The grey-haired man bowed deeply and said, "Right away, sir." With that, he took a phone to his boss's desk, punched in the number for the NIP building, let it ring, then gave it to his boss. The phone rang for a second and was picked up by Jose's voice. "Hello, this is the front office of the Neo Icon Phoenix Research Facility. This is..." she tried to say, until Overhaul cut her off viciously. "Cut the crap and transfer me to your boss. This is the leader of the Yakuza speaking," he hissed at her in a firm tone that emanated his ever-increasing but repressed rage. The woman gasped before the line was cut. A moment later, Egon picked up. He did not sound happy at all as he yelled back, "Professor Egon Cristallo, who is this and why are you making my staff cry?" "This is Overhaul of the Yakuza," Overhaul told him. There was silence for a long while until Egon spoke up again and said sarcastically, "Right, and I'm All Might's mum." Overhaul said nothing in return, feeling what the man was saying over the phone. Egon observed aloud, "Wait, you're serious? I have nothing to say to you. I'm reporting you to the heroes." Before he could hang up, Overhaul slammed his hand on the desk and said, "I know you have her." Egon paused and asked back, "Her? Who's her?" "The girl, Eri. She's my asset. Give her to me and I won't dismantle your building," Overhaul offered. Suddenly, the phone was taken from him and a new, younger voice answered. "Ah, geez, that sounds like a real convincing argument," the voice said with heavy sarcasm before drawing it out in silence and saying, "But... nah, if you want her, come and get her. If you can, don't worry, I'll make a spot ready for you and your group in our morgue. Toodles." The phone line went dead, and Overhaul slammed the phone back on the receiver with enough force to break it. After seeing this and waiting for his leader to calm down, Chronostasis asked, "Invasion?" Overhaul gripped his hands tightly and breathed an angry sigh before affirming, "Invasion." Sometime later. "Here they come right on time," Pyrrha said as she looked through her periscope device attached to the building. A few miles away from their location, several large carrier trucks were zooming their way. Not so inconspicuous ones that immediately tipped them off that they were part of the Yakuza invasion. They knew it would happen today. They planned and calculated it, and the thugs proved them right. "They are way too easy to predict," Cho scoffed as she operated a set of controls that maneuvered the many defensive measures in, on, and around the building and its land. Seeing the trucks get within a mile of them, Pyrrha told her, "Begin the defense measures." Cho pushed some buttons and said, "Raising the gates and tower turrets." As the trucks rapidly approached, a long line of thick concrete walls was erected up from the ground around the edges of the facility property line, 20 feet high and 2 feet thick, with an added illusion splinter on it, making it appear to be made of something flimsy. Besides them were several small towers of concrete that had a single turret gun on top. The turrets looked into the incoming trucks and began to unload ammunition. The trucks sustained heavy damage, but kept pressing on until they came to the wall, thinking they would easily break through. They didn't stop until they saw the 3 trucks hit the wall and explode. The ones who stopped short ended up exploding when the wall plasma cannons began blasting them point blank. All seemed well until one of the trucks that was farther back sped to the wall, and everyone inside jumped out just before impact. When it did, the vehicle exploded in a blast so powerful that it destroyed the wall and the 2 tower turrets. Pyrrha groaned and reported, "They broke through our first line of defense. Activate roadblocks." Cho nods and pushes more buttons to affect the outside. As several trucks rush in through the new hole, many more hidden traps spring up. Road spikes that burst the tires, piping hot oil was spilled, and even mechanics that made the street uneven with potholes and bumps, making more vehicles tumble over or crash, allowing the turrets to take them out. One even exploded, causing oil around the area to catch fire and set off a chain reaction. However, this didn't stop them for long, as several more armored trucks with non-air-inflated tires barreled through all the previous and current defenses. Pyrrha sucks in air through her teeth and says worriedly, "And they got through those. They sure are persistent, but not very smart. They still haven't entered the building and are using the same strategy, bum rushing," Cho observed through several monitors. "With how this attack is going, you'd think they'd just try to distract us," Cluck added while sitting beside Cho. Otto, who was running calculations, noticed something on the sonar and said, "Looks like they are." Cho sighs and asks, "Let me guess, from the rear with the same strategy?" Otto only nods, and she says with disappointment, "I thought these guys were supposed to be a threat, not a joke." Ever since heroes became a thing, the Yakuza have been taken down so far that they are no different from regular thugs, Cluck informed her. At this time, Izuku and Igai, who were standing silently in the back and watching this unfold, spoke up and stated firmly, "Thugs or not, they are still dangerous. Keep an eye on their progress. If they enter the building, We'll have to take drastic measures, Egon told them. Pura waves her hand and says, "Righto, boss. But don't worry, they may have gotten to the front door, but the defences are taking them down quickly. But it doesn't look like they have a large force." As she said this, from outside, the armoured truck pulled up to the front and began to unload people, only for things to go backwards for them. The moment the doors opened, a hailstorm of bullets and cannon fire was thrust on them. Anyone who survived, or was lucky enough to keep the doors closed, had to deal with the plasma rail cannons. One by one, trucks began to explode. People were torn to shreds by the gunfire. Any who got close enough to the front entry was attacked by strangling and tickling vines, grass as sharp as blades, snapdragons with teeth, hypnotic pitcher plants and rose bushes, the whipping willow, pine trees and cactuses that shot needles, daisy flowers that screamed loud enough to damage eardrums, and so much more. Robbie, who was looking through another periscope, informed them, "Don't look now, we have a large carrier coming this way." "What's going on?" Izuku asks him. As stated, a large carrier truck positions itself at the destroyed concrete wall, and when it parks, several vast people come out. One of them is a short man in a purple parka with fur trim, black hair, sharp eyes, and a uniquely designed bird mask. "Wait, is that the Yakuza boss?" Robbie asks. "Let me see," Izuku demanded while pushing him aside. Looking through, he saw the man and said, "Yep, that's him." Pura looks through her scope and says, "Looks like they have a warper." Back outside, the Yakuza had all converged just outside the concrete protection walls, with one man in a strange mask with purple hair beginning to do something with his glowing hands. "Is the anti-warp quirk generator up and running?" Egon asked his people. "Long before they got here," Honeylemon announced from another room. "I'm sending out sniper drones," Cho told him as she pressed some buttons, and an opening revealed on the outside of the facility. There, a single object, shaped like a ball, was launched into the sky. After being launched 100 feet, it unveiled at 50 and began to fly at 30. It was shaped like a drone with 4 fan rotors and a single sniper rifle built into it. It flew over in the near silence to the gangsters and aimed its barrel at the warper. Within moments, the shot was taken, and the warper dropped to the ground. "Got him! Now for the leader," Cho announced as she maneuvered the barrel towards the leader. Once she had the man in her camera sights, he turned and looked at the drone, suddenly causing the picture to go static for a moment before he made some kind of motion, knocking the drone from the air before hitting the ground and cutting off the video feed. "What the... Something shut down the drone," Cho announced. "What are they even trying to accomplish? They lost their whole armada. How are they expecting to get in?" Robbie asked, as the black security measure were also breached, fending them off. Thinking about all they had witnessed so far from the Yakuza's invasion, Izuku thought it over while muttering quietly to himself. Then a thought crossed his mind, and he said with dread in his tone, "Wait, I've seen this before." He'd looked through one of the cameras and saw Overall doing something and remembered his quirk. "Oh no, this is bad," he exclaimed while jumping back. Everyone looked at him, and Egon asked, "What?" "Cannon fodder," Izuku exclaimed as he ran to grab something sturdy. "Wait, oh no," Egon exclaimed as he too realized what Izuku was saying and doing. Before anyone could inquire about what their bosses were talking about, he grabbed onto something sturdy and yelled, "The attack just cleared a path! Take cover!" Izuku yelled as the other scientists scrambled to hook themselves down. Back outside, Overhaul had removed his glove and placed his hand on the ground ever so slightly. Upon this, the earth shot out like a wave mixed with a bullet and hurled right for the building. The security measures could do nothing at all, as all of them were destroyed or uprooted by the blast of earth and stone. The front of the building took the brunt of the impact and caved in a huge blast before carving the front entryway inwards and violently shaking the whole building. After the shaking had stopped and the staff had regained their composure, Izuku announced, "We've been breached. Places, everyone. We're taking down these wannabes once and for all." Chapter 46 Attack of the Yakuza, Part 2. "Nice place you got there. Too bad we have to wreck it," one of the Yakuza's 8 bullets comments as they walk through the now destroyed front entryway of the research building. Broken and fragmented pipes of everything under the sun littered the floor as they walked in. Getting inside was easy after destroying the front way, thanks to their boss's quirk. All the defensive measures had been busted beyond use, and anything left was double destroyed by Rappa and Hekiji. Nothing was left to surprise them as they casually strolled inside. A small cadre of around 24 Yakuza was left after the initial attack, alongside the 8 bullets, the boss, and his right and left-hand man. But before the bullets could start destroying anything that was still standing or left untouched, Overhaul firmly and strictly stopped him as he said, "We're not here for vandalism. Just the girl and the heads of all those who work here, especially that Professor Egon and Dr. Izuku." "Yes, sir," all the Yakuza said together. One of the more peppery members of the 8 bullets got fired up and exclaimed, "No one mouths off the Yakuza. Let's get them." "Wait." Overhaul stopped him before he rushed in. Looking around a bit, he pointed to the first dozen underlings and told them, "You all go ahead first." The underlings gulped nervously and nodded as they took up arms and began to walk carefully through the main foyer. Things seemed to be going well so far, with nothing suspicious, until they came upon the main fish tank at the center of the room, which somehow managed to get broken open by the attack. Inside the tank were many different fish that had been experimented on at the facility, mostly for profit. Fish which were deemed safe for public to have on account of them being nearly harmless and pretty to look at. Inside, with all the strange fish in the surprisingly large tank, were dozens of large blue starfish with a single yellow eye staring off into nothing. One of the underlings looked into the tank, saw the starfish, and commented, "Yeesh, those are some ugly-looking starfish. What the hell are they doing here?" Another one grunted, joined him to stare at the strange creature, only for one of the starfish to move its single eye in their direction. The first grunt asked, "Wait, is it looking at us?" Before they could think about it, the second grunt felt something wet hit his head. Looking up, he saw that one of the starfish had climbed its way up the side of the tank and was looking down at him. He gasped, and before he could do anything else, it jumped down and latched onto his face. "Ah! Get it off! Get it off! Ah!" he screamed as he tried to rip the creature off of him. As this was happening, one of the other grunts looked to the top of the tank and saw a huge number of them crawling out and yelled, "Look out! Here comes more!" As he said this, all the ones left in the tank quickly swam to the top and jumped from the water to the side, where they began to fly all over the place and latched onto each and every one of the nearby grunts. After they were all caught, they flew towards the other Yakuza members, and Hikiji put up a force field around them, all except Rappa, who moved away from the protection and ran towards the horde of flying invertebrates. "I'm gonna fight the starfish!" he yelled while preparing his punches. "Rappa, no!" one of the bullets called out. Overhaul stopped him and said, "Let him go. It seems they do not affect him. Or they need a sizable and uncovered face to latch onto," Hikiji observed as he watched how, no matter what they did, the starfish couldn't latch on to his face. The huge man was punching away swarm after swarm of them until there were none left apart from his body, where he pulled them off and threw them to the ground. "That's the last of them," he called back as the ground was littered with the dead creatures and the seemingly dead bodies of the grunts that had gotten a starfish latched onto their face. One of the bullets walked to one of the downed men and asked while poking him with his foot, "Are they dead?" The question was answered as the single eye looked at the man, grabbed his ankle while screaming, "You will die, filthy lowlives!" The bullet screamed and kicked him off as he backed away, watching all the other people rise back up with their emotionless starfish-covered faces as they all zombie-walked to the gangsters and said in unison, "Starro will protect his home. Starro will protect his family. You will die." Mind control starfish. Interesting, Overhaul said in amusement. The dozen mind-controlled people began to move towards the villains, trying to swarm them. That's when Rappa jumped in again and exclaimed, "Don't worry, I'll just rip them off, and they'll be back to normal." With that, he grabbed the closest one, took hold of the starfish, and in one swift motion ripped it off alongside the person's face. Both fell limp and were dead in the huge man's hands as he muttered, "That didn't work. Then I guess they're lost to us." Overhaul sighed, irritated at losing more people. The ensuing battle didn't take long due to their slow speed, unused to their host quirks, and tactics that involved surrounding them. The only thing working in their favor of the mind-controlled grunts was the fact they didn't experience pain and could still move even after many broken bones or missing limbs. Within minutes, a dozen grunts were dead on the floor with all the other mind-controlled starfish. Chronostasis looked at the fallen people and their remains, then at his boss, and offered, "Sir, I don't think we should go onwards with the invasion and extraction. We're the only ones left, and we still don't know what traps and other things like this are in here." Overall snapped his head to him, causing the man to go to Juno. As Overhaul affirmed, "We get the girl. That is the top priority. We need her." Chronostasis bit his tongue and replied, "Yes, sir. Fan out and find her. Kill anyone or anything that gets in the way," Overhaul ordered. But before they could do that, one of the 8 bullets pointed down the hallway and asked, "Like the horde of robots coming this way?" As stated, a massive horde of more advanced robots with top-of-the-line weapons came down from the dark hallway in several lines of dozens of single units. The leader in the front of the commands, "Surrender and you'll not be harmed." Overhaul groans and says while taking off his gloves as the robots surround them, with weapons drawn. How annoying. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is chapter 45 and 46. This is the beginning of the Yakuza raid. Well, more like the Yakuza invasion. This is gonna go on for at least 10 more chapters, maybe. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe it's just another 5 more. So 2 more videos if they end up being in 2 chapter videos. If not, then it's going to be a little while longer. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. This is a lovely chapter. Nice and, I wouldn't say intense, but it's a good test to see how prepared the NIP is when it comes to like the defenses and stuff. You get to see a good test of all of them. But I'm still confused. Why wouldn't they make like illusions of hiding, turrets and stuff? Like if you hide a turret somewhere, and use an illusion quirk splinter to hide it, when you give the sense of, yeah, this is protected, but they don't have the full capabilities. Because I mean, you should have used road traps at the very back. That would have delayed them. The crashes and stuff would have probably done, but either way, it's a good chapter. I quite like it. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Bye.